The grand hall of the Galactic Council shimmered beneath a dome of living crystal, casting soft pulses of blue and violet across the assembly floor. 200 species sat in tiered rings, their translators humming. Each alien face turned toward the central podium where Chancellor Tyrix Valor stood, draped in imperial red. Order must be maintained, Valor intoned, his voice amplified by embedded resonance threads in the walls. Humanity is no longer a backwater experiment. Their numbers swell, their reach expands. And yet, their military remains opaque, hidden, dangerous. Murmurs echoed across the chamber. A feathered Thalaxian delegate twitched nervously. A Pluyun ambassador emitted a low-frequency warble of concern. For 3 decades, Earth had remained quiet, compliant, even, but they never opened their defense networks to council inspections. They never volunteered for joint patrols. And now, Valor had convinced enough of the inner systems that this behavior was unacceptable. Today we decide, Valor continued, humanity must either integrate their planetary defense under council command or be sanctioned as a rogue species. In the center, beneath a web of orbiting holographs, Commander Elias Vorn stood alone. No entourage, no flags, just the dark uniform of Earth's Unified Defense Command, black with a silver delta across the chest. His expression betrayed nothing. Cool eyes, hands folded. He waited. Valor turned toward him with a sneer. Commander Vorn, do you deny that your government has refused repeated calls for military transparency? Vorn's voice was even, deliberate. Earth has honored every treaty. We have committed no acts of aggression. We ask only to be left in peace. That is not enough, barked the Tarsh warlord. Your silence is aggression. Others nodded. Fear was easy to stir. Earth had grown fast, too fast. Colonies across 7 systems. Quiet observers in council debates. No alliances. No wars. Just watching. A blue light pulsed across the hall. The voting phase had begun. Council members, Valor declared, select now. Integration or sanction. Elias Vorn didn't move. His gaze swept the chamber. Not pleading, not defiant. Just watching, recording. One by one, the decision lights blinked in. Green, red, green, red, red, red. Final tally, 143 in favor sanction, 57 against. Silence. The vote passed. Valor stepped forward triumphantly. Effective immediately, the unified defense forces of Earth are to be absorbed into the Council's strategic command. Refusal will be seen as a declaration of war. A lesser diplomat might have reacted, protested. Vorn did neither. Instead, he reached into his sleeve and withdrew a small obsidian coin, no bigger than a thumbnail. He held it up. The vote is noted, he said calmly. And Earth invokes Clause 17. Valor's brow ridges stiffened. That clause hasn't been cited in over 100 cycles. It's ceremonial. On the contrary, Vorn said, stepping to the center ring. Clause 17 permits any member species, under threat of cultural or existential erasure, to exercise strategic sovereignty, immediate military autonomy, no oversight, no interference, until the threat has passed. A flurry of voices erupted. Dozens of species scrambled to consult their legal databanks. Screens flashed, definitions pulled, interpretations debated. But Vorn had done his homework. And who, Valor spat, is threatening you, Commander? Vorn's reply was razor-edged. This council. Gasps. Outrage. But Vorn raised one hand. Earth has been underestimated since admission. You called us backward, fragile, immature, and in your arrogance, you forgot the one thing humans do better than any other species in this chamber. Prepare. He turned slowly, letting his gaze rest on the leaders of empires that had mocked Earth's caution. You've assumed our silence was weakness. It wasn't. It was restraint. Valor slammed a clawed hand on the dais. Enough. You will comply or Earth will be expelled. No, Vorn said, voice clipped. You misunderstand. We're not asking permission. He tapped the obsidian coin against his wrist calm. A low chime echoed. Light years away, In orbit around Earth's moon, a dormant satellite blinked to life. In silent synchrony, deep space relays activated, and a quantum signal rippled through human-controlled systems like a match across dry grass. Back in the hall, Voron's eyes flicked upward. A new display bloomed across the chamber, a data stream no council system had authorized. 3 black objects appeared in the projection. Non-reflective, smooth, triangular. Council recognition systems failed to identify them. Classified, unknown. Designate, Obsidian Sky, Voron said quietly. That's just the beginning. A hush fell. Valor's mouth twitched. What is this? A reminder, Voron replied. You think humans are infants with sticks. We let you believe that. Now you seek to strip our defenses, our sovereignty, our survival. So I suggest, Chancellor, you consider carefully before forcing our hand. Valor's stare burned with fury. Are you threatening us? No, Voron said. I'm warning you. Earth will not be subjugated. Not now. Not ever. You came here today thinking we had nothing. I came to show you we've been holding everything. The chamber descended into chaos. Delegates yelled, translators failing to keep up. Some demanded sanctions. Others called for immediate investigations. A few, very few, sat in thoughtful silence, watching a human in the center, like one might study the sudden movement of a predator. Valor tried to regain control. This is madness, bluff and shadow play. We must strike before they act. Voron turned, walking back to his place. He spoke over his shoulder. Strike if you must. But know this, Earth's silence wasn't fear. It was calculation. And now you're out of time. He sat, hands once again folded as the council reeled. Outside, in the cold dark above Earth's moon, something vast began to move. The hangar doors opened without a sound. From the lunar black site codenamed Obsidian Node Alpha, 3 monoliths drifted into the void, dwarfing nearby observation platforms. Matte black, seamless, and unmarked by any known insignia, they absorbed radar, light, and logic. Council scans failed to register mass or engine output. As far as the galaxy's most advanced sensors could tell, they did not exist. But they were moving. Fast. General Kaida Morales stood in Earth Command's underground operations theater, her hand steady over the master uplink. The walls pulsed with low-frequency hums as encrypted transmissions threaded through worm space, bouncing between covert satellites seated across human space. Confirm alignment with nodes Bravo through Epsilon, she said without looking up. Aye, came the reply from a young operator, voice dry. All Obsidian units report green. Neural relays are locked. Morales nodded. Time. 3 minutes to full exposure. Begin protocol airing. Show them some of what we've got. In orbit above Mars, a Chiron array, once disguised as a decommissioned mining ring, rotated into position. Panels split open, revealing a series of kinetic harpoon towers, the tips glowing faint blue from internal charge. Across the asteroid belt, dormant silos opened. In deep space, artificial black holes, created through folded gravity fields, stirred to life. None of this had ever been shown to the Council. Until now. Meanwhile, aboard Celestra Prime, chaos spread like a fracture line. The Council's emergency chamber was in disarray. Holograms flickered. Delegates barked across private channels. Threat assessments poured in, but none offered clarity. Chancellor Tyrix Valor stared at the projections flooding the air. Where did these come from? Human territory. Snap 1 aid. They've activated over a dozen assets in the last 6 minutes. Were those ships? Valor's tone had shifted. Less contempt. More concern. They don't match any previous configuration, the aide answered. We think they're quantum phase vessels. Explain. They exist in a dual-state form, fully present, yet partially displaced. Our targeting systems can't lock them, not even visually. Valor's jaw tensed. How many? Unknown. We've only seen 3, but long-range scanners suggest dozens. He turned slowly toward the center of the chamber. Commander Elias Voron stood there still, unmoving. Is this your retaliation? Valor demanded. You parade ghost ships around to intimidate us? No, Vorn replied. That's not retaliation. That's a message. We are not unarmed. We are not unaware. Valor's claws clicked against the stone table. Then what is retaliation? Vorn didn't answer. Instead, he tapped the edge of his wrist comm again, above the chamber. The Council's orbital sensors shifted to accommodate a new signal source, coming not from Earth, but from Sector 19X, a region humans were never supposed to access. A moment later, a live broadcast began. The feed stabilized on an asteroid fortress. Karnak Station, long considered impenetrable. It belonged to the Varn Dominion, one of the Council's elite military blocks. Fully automated defenses, hardened outer shell, built to repel entire fleets. A single human ship, the EHA's Icarus, floated outside the perimeter. No visible weapons, no hails. Inside the operations deck, a human pilot sat calmly. Neural uplinks pulsed from the base of his skull. Beside him, a glowing AI node blinked in perfect rhythm. "Commence test," he said softly. The ship didn't fire. It folded. One moment it was there. The next it occupied a half-space state, ghosted in and out of visibility. Seconds later, Karnak's shield array collapsed. Not from impact, but from pure data overload. Subroutines failed. Defense AIs crashed. The fortress blinked into blackout. Without a single shot, the most fortified Council bastion had been turned off like a light. The feed cut. Valor stared, mouth slightly open. "Technology that advanced," he began. "We didn't steal it," Vorn said, his voice low. "We learned by watching. We studied every skirmish, every failed alliance, every mistake your empires made. And we built something better." "You mean you've been preparing for war?" the Chancellor growled. "No," Vorn corrected. "We've been preparing for your fear of us. This was always inevitable." A transmission from the Keltari Empire's ambassador came through. "Chancellor, we advise restraint. Earth's capacity is beyond our projections." Another followed. Then another. Valor's position was unraveling. Back on Earth, Morales stood in silence. The board showed dozens of Council vessels mobilizing near human space. "They're scared," one tech murmured. "No," Morales said. "They're calculating. Big difference. Fear makes you flinch. Calculation makes you strike first." She keyed into Vorn's channel. "Obsidian units standing by. Shall we escalate?" "Negative." Vorn replied from Celestra. "Let them digest. We'll show teeth later. Right now, they need time to realize they're not the apex anymore." Valor leaned forward, his voice low but cold. "So what is this, Vorn? A bluff? You expect us to back down because you revealed a few tricks?" Vorn's eyes met his. "No bluff. Just correction. You thought we were children. Now you realize we were listening. Waiting. Growing." A silent moment passed. Then Vorn added, "And if you force our hand again, we'll stop waiting." A silence hung over the Council chamber, tight, brittle. The kind that follows seismic shifts when old certainties collapse. No one spoke. Even Valor had gone still, the usual sneer absent from his face. Then the lights dimmed. Without warning or invitation, a new hologram expanded across the center of the chamber. It showed a rocky moon in orbit of Zentar, 4, a dead world used as a weapons testing site by the Council. The screen data identified it as Site K-19. Abandoned, monitored remotely. "Focus your attention here," Vorn said, stepping forward. "You'll want to see this." The feed sharpened. A single object entered the frame, sleek, black, silent, one of the Obsidian Sky vessels. A voiceover, calm and synthetic, echoed to the chamber. Live feed from Obsidian unit data. Demonstration, passive siege neutralization. A swarm of automated turrets activated from the moon's surface. They locked on, fired, but every energy bolt disappeared before impact, folded into nothing, as if absorbed by space itself. Then the vessel vanished. The feed continued. One by one, the ground-based weapons began to fail, not from damage, but from cascading software corruption. Turrets turned in circles, sensors twitched erratically, and core systems shut down. Within 90 seconds, the entire moon base was inert. No impact, no noise, no trace. The vessel reappeared, motionless, untouched. The voiceover resumed. Threat capability reduced to 0. No casualties, no debris, no engagement necessary. Vorn glanced at Valor. That facility was designed by the Virus conglomerate, wasn't it? Built to simulate planetary invasion resistance. Valor's face darkened. That technology, how did you? We didn't steal it. You left it lying around. Vorn folded his hands behind his back. Earth learned through observation. You call us primitive, but your arrogance has always been louder than your caution. The chamber murmured again, not with outrage this time, but concern. From the upper row, the Zarn delegate, a reclusive race of cognitive specialists, raised her frilled head. Your vessel used no kinetic force, no energy signatures. What exactly disabled the base? No lattice intrusion, Vorn answered. A subquantum broadcast that corrupts basic AI heuristics. It doesn't destroy. It convinces the system to surrender. A new voice cut in, Ambassador Kelmari of the Atrox Coalition. You've built weapons that wage psychological war on machines. No, Vorn said. We built tools that don't start wars at all, only end them before they begin. Valor stood again. You act as if this is benevolence, but I see a show of unchecked power. You're broadcasting terror as policy. Terror, Vorn said, is what happens when power is unpredictable. What we offer is certainty. You now understand what Earth is capable of. That changes things. Behind him, the demonstration feed dissolved. In its place appeared schematics, rotating 3D renders of Earth's current defense architecture. No fluff, no bluff, just data. Orbital rail stations, full drives, graviton reapers, quantum disruption mines embedded in asteroid fields, and something else, something the chamber had never seen before. A sphere, crystalline, suspended between folded space-time coordinates. It pulsed like a heart. Project Singularity Nexus, Vorn said, built as a last resort. It can isolate a star system and compress its timeline, rendering it inert for a subjective eternity. We don't want to use it, but we built it because we knew we'd be cornered someday. He let that land. On Earth, deep below Iceland's glacial crust, Project Nexus pulsed in silence. Scientists moved like ghosts around it, speaking only in numbers and directives. They wore no ranks. This wasn't a military site. This was legacy insurance. Back in the council chamber, the tone had shifted completely. Delegates leaned in now, not with contempt, but with concern, maybe respect. A few even looked unsettled. A red glow blinked at the edge of Vorn's interface. A secure transmission. Morales. He opened the line in a low whisper. Report. Council fleet is mobilizing near Vega 7, she said. Not advancing, but they're watching. Hold Obsidian formation. Don't escalate. Copy. Standing by. He cut the feed and turned to the council. You're watching your assumptions collapse, he said, calmly but without apology. For decades, you thought Earth was a quiet colony of clever mammals. You never asked why we stayed quiet. You feared us, muttered Valor. No, Vorn said. We fear becoming you. Obsessed with control, with dominance. So we waited, built in the shadows. Not for conquest, for survival. The room quieted again. Then the Zalari High Scribe spoke, his voice low and reptilian. You've changed the balance. The council will not return to how it was. That's the point, Vorn replied. We're not asking for a seat at your table. We're building a new one. Several delegates exchanged looks. And if the council moves against you? Valor asked finally, the fight not yet gone from his voice. Then Earth will not stand alone, Vorn said. He tapped his comm again. 3 more ships appeared on the upper feed. Different designs. Non-human. One bore the colors of the Olari. Another, the Shitan. The third, shockingly, was Drakari, a species long thought isolationist. They've seen what we're building, Vorn said. They believe in deterrence through parity. Peace, not submission. A long silence followed. Then the Tsar and delegate stood. I motioned to suspend all military actions against Earth. Immediate reclassification. Level 1 sovereign power. A beat. Then another stood. And another. The vote lights began to change. Vorn didn't smile. He just nodded once and left the podium. The council wasn't Earth's master anymore. End of Chapter 3. Aboard the Dread Spire, flagship of the Council Enforcement Fleet, Admiral Sethari stood at the prow, mandibles clenched. His 6 crimson eyes studied the data feed with growing agitation. Earth's vessels, those black void craft of impossible silence, hovered on the edge of Vega 7's gravity well. They moved like predators, precise and patient. This is unacceptable, he hissed, turning to his communications officer. Transmit to all fleet units. Prepare for tactical formation Theta 11. If Earth want a war of nerves, we will show them steel. Back on Celestia Prime, Tyrix Valor watched the same report scroll across his private console. The council chamber had quieted, but no decisions had been finalized. Too many voices, too many agendas. Fear had slowed them, but not stopped them. Valor knew this was the moment. Doubt had seeded the chamber. If he didn't push now, Earth's influence would spread like mold through softwood. He opened a private channel to Admiral Sethari. Do it. Advance the fleet. Probe their outer defenses. Force a reaction. Sethari nodded grimly. As you command. In Earth's L4 Command Citadel, General Morales stared at the live relay from Vega 7. Red triangles fanned out across the tactical display. Council warships, dozens of them. Coordinated. Armed. Moving into Earth control buffer space. They're testing us, her operations chief said. No, Morales replied. They're hoping we flinch. She tapped into the encrypted diplomatic channel. Commander Vorn, they're moving. His voice crackled through a moment later, calm and cold. Do not engage. Yet, let them step over the line. Above Vega 7, the Dread Spire unleashed a single pulse, a harmless EM burst, masked as a targeting sweep. Technically not a shot, not an attack, but Earth didn't believe in gray zones. Instantly, the response came. The Obsidian-class ship EHA's Revenant, orbiting in stealth phase, decloaked. Its outer hull shimmered, and without a sound, space itself bent around it. Gravity anchors bloomed like petals. Then, in one moment of elegance, Revenant folded space, not to travel, but to fold the Dread Spire in on itself. The flagship imploded, not exploded, imploded. Its hull collapsing into a pinpoint before disappearing entirely. 1 second it was there, radiating power. The next, it was a whisper erased from the cosmos. No energy discharge. No survivors. Just vacuum. On Celestia, gasps broke through the chamber. Valor slammed his hand on the command console. Attack. That was an unprovoked strike. Vorn didn't even blink. It was a response. You fired first. It was a scan. In a war zone, that is a trigger. Ambassador Jal, a silicon-based life form from Korath, rasped. He's correct. Targeting pulses are acts of aggression under Pax Astri protocols. Valor turned to chamber. You see what they are? Tyrants in black ships. Dictators cloaked in peace. Vorn's voice cut through the accusations. We warned you. We demonstrated. We declassified. You chose escalation. Earth's patience ended the moment Dreadspire crossed into sovereign space. Another screen bloomed. Real-time telemetry. 20 more council ships, scattered and uncoordinated, had stopped their approach. A few began turning back. And now came Earth's second card. Activate Project Rook, Morales said softly. On Earth, buried beneath the Andes, a cryostasis chamber opened. Suspended in a pool of silver gel floated a single human, eyes closed, wires threading through his skull. His name was Elias Rook. Not a soldier, not a machine. A singular mind designed for wartime singularities. Post-AI, beyond algorithm. Earth's strategic evolution. The lights flared as consciousness returned. Rook opened his eyes. His voice was like polished glass. Query. Morales spoke through the interface. Council attempted a limited strike. One vessel neutralized. Hostile formations retreating. Directive: prevent escalation. No further casualties. Immediate parity through psychological deterrence. Rook nodded once. I'll show them the war they almost invited. Within seconds, across 5 council sectors, hundreds of dormant systems came alive. Not weapons, not ships, but warnings. Every council admiral found their private channels flooded with untraceable messages. Each message carried their own personnel files, classified, intimate, precise. Mistakes from past battles. Secrets never documented publicly. Attached was a simple sentence. We know your next move. We've already beaten it. In the command room of the Council's 9th Expeditionary Fleet, Admiral Von Case stared at the message on his console. His 3 hearts skipped in sync. What is this? He demanded. His aide paled. We're being preempted. Not hacked, predicted. Valor's voice cracked through the council chamber again, more shrill now. They're waging psychological warfare. Yes, Vorn said. That's Rook. Who the hell is Rook? The reason we've never needed an armada. Rook's signals reached every fleet in motion. Visual simulations projected onto their bridges. Reconstructions of defeat, losses modeled with impossible accuracy. Every maneuver they might attempt, pre-calculated. Every evasion already accounted for. It wasn't just intimidation. It was a silent admission. You've already lost. Back in the chamber, Valor was losing control. This isn't deterrence, he snarled. It's tyranny. Vorn stepped forward. It's clarity. You made us show what we built in silence. Now you understand. Earth will not serve. Earth will not bow. You threaten the very balance of the galaxy. No, Vorn said. We've just redrawn the line. He raised his wrist. A single command transmitted, and across the stars, every Earth fleet stood down. Obsidian sky vanished once more into folded space. Project Rook returned to silence. Vorn's voice rang clear. We are not your enemy, unless you try to make us your prey. He turned his back and walked away. No one followed. The council chamber was quiet in a way no sensor could measure, more than silence. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. Tyrix Valor sat in his chair, shoulders rigid, eyes hollow. Around him, the rest of the Galactic Council remained frozen in the aftermath of Earth's revelation. No one dared speak first. The weight of what they had seen would have been unleashed, settled like cosmic dust over ancient machinery. Commander Elias Vorn stood alone in the center of the hall once again, his posture unchanged. But everything else irrevocably shifted. He spoke, not with anger, not with triumph, but with finality. You assumed we were behind, that we were too fractured to unify, too slow to learn. You watched us like scientists study animals in cages. No one interrupted. You saw what you expected, and we let you see it. Vorn paused. A faint hum from the dome above traced shifting stars, light years away. Earth's flag now shimmered alongside the great species, not beneath them. When we joined this council, he continued, it was to learn, not kneel. You took our silence as obedience. That was your first mistake. The Zarn delegate, pale and thoughtful, leaned forward. And now, what is your intention? Vorn's answer was measured. We don't want control. We don't need conquest. But we will not be dictated to. Not by tradition. Not by fear. Not by threats. The age of quiet compliance is over. An awkward motion to the left. Ambassador Ural of the Thalaxians slowly stood. Then what are you proposing, Commander Vorn? Vorn stepped forward once, unblinking. A new doctrine. Mutual respect through strategic transparency. From this moment forward, all species, Earth included, must stand as equals, not rivals, not subjects. This council survives only if it adapts. And if it refuses? Valor rasped, voice thin. Then it ends, Vorn said flatly. But I don't think it will. I think the rest of you saw enough. Valor looked around, and realized how few of his former allies were still with him. The Varn silent. The Drakari already shifting to Earth's orbit. Even the Aatrox, warlike and proud, said nothing. "You're destabilizing the galaxy," Valor muttered. "No." The Olari representative spoke now, her voice serene. "Earth stabilized it. They just removed the illusion of control." Another stood, Ambassador Riven of the Shetan. "I move that Earth be recognized as a Level 1 sovereign power with full veto capability." "I second," came the chorus from across 3 rows. The vote passed, fast and without ceremony. Valor clenched his fist but said nothing. He had lost, not just politically, but philosophically. The structure he'd built, the hierarchy he'd clung to, had crumbled in the presence of a species he once considered irrelevant. Vorn walked to the center ring, scanned the chamber. Earth will take no vengeance. There will be no retroactive punishments, no territorial claims. We'll return to our borders. That surprised some. They'd expected demands, payback, not restraint. "But understand this," Vorn added, his voice sharpening. "This was our only warning. The next attempt to undermine Earth autonomy will not end with words or simulations. It will end with a permanent erasure of the threat." A flicker of tension returned. No bluster in the statement, just certainty. "Do we understand each other?" he asked, eyes sweeping across every delegation. Dozens of heads nodded, some out of fear, others out of respect. The Drakari regent stepped forward, robes glinting. "We request immediate technological exchange talks with Earth. As equals." Vorn inclined his head. "We accept." The Shetan ambassador added, "And joint defense discussions. We now understand the value of Earth's deterrent systems." Vorn said nothing, but a subtle smile formed at the edge of his mouth. Elsewhere, in the Vega, 7 Sector, Council fleets continued their withdrawal. Obsidian-class ships tracked every movement, but did not follow. Their message had been sent and received. In Earth's deep command bunkers, Project Rook returned to stasis, its purpose complete for now. No victory parades, no celebrations, just maintenance logs, performance diagnostics, and silent containment. On the surface of Earth, beneath a steel-gray sky, General Morales walked across the platform of Unity Base, the oldest station in Earth's defense grid. She stood at the edge, watching a new fleet take shape. Clean lines, powerful engines, weapons hidden beneath elegant armor. Not to attack, to warn. Her calm buzzed. "Report," she answered. "Council has formally ratified Earth's new status. Full sovereign recognition. No appeals." Morales exhaled once. "And Valor, discredited. The Threxian Republic recalled him an hour ago. They'll bury him in bureaucracy." She looked up as a transport passed overhead, the blue and white Earth insignia flaring across its hull. For the first time in a century, humanity wasn't looking up at the stars with fear. Now the galaxy would look to Earth. Back in the chamber, as the council began to adjourn, one delegate approached Vorn directly. Ambassador Lenk of the Lorari, once a vocal Earth critic, spoke quietly. "Why didn't you strike harder? You could have destroyed half our fleets, taken territory, demanded reparation." Vorn's reply was simple. "Because we don't need validation. We needed understanding. And we got it." Lenk hesitated. "What changed you? What made humanity so dangerous?" Vorn met his gaze, unflinching. "You did." As the chamber emptied, Vorn stood alone for a moment. He looked up at the vaulted dome, where the constellations of the galaxy shifted slowly in an endless spiral. He tapped a single command into his wristpad.